is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Gematria Gaming. And it is February 9th. And I've got something I want to jump into, as I typically do. And I want to talk about something that's been on my mind for a while now. And Zach on Gematria Effect News actually just started talking about it this morning too, and I thought it was kind of funny. And he, excuse me, he had spoke about thinking that the Queen of England was going to pass away in May, and I wanted to play that song at the beginning there. Because it's very fitting. A lot of the lyrics are really fitting for what I think might be coming in the year of 2022. And you can watch my most previous video, obviously the one before this one, about the 2022 riddle and exactly what's going on in the world, the significance of 222 in Gematria. And I kind of want to jump into some thoughts and a stream of consciousness kind of right now with regards to this song here that we just listened to. But first and foremost, also wanted to just kind of let everyone who might be new or who might not know what Gematria is. It is the ancient Jewish practice of coding letters into numbers and numbers into letters. And it's simple. There's 4 base ciphers, and with these 4 ciphers that you can see here on the screen, you can pretty much figure out everything that's going on in the world and how everything is contrived and everything is predetermined to an extent, as far as all the important things that happen in the world, at least. And yeah, it's kind of funny. It makes me laugh at how simple these 4 ciphers really are, and what how much significance they hold, I guess, right? As far as everything that goes on in the world. But so you've got your English ordinal, right? So this is your basic cipher here, where A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals 3, D equals 4, all the way up until Z equals 26. And then you've got your full reduction, where it's the alphabet forwards, and you just don't go past the number 9. So when you get to number 9, it repeats itself 1 through 9 again, and then 1 through 8 for A through Z. Then you have reverse ordinal, which is the alphabet backwards, but still the same thing. Z equals 1, Y equals 2, X equals 3, all the way to A equals 26. And then you've got your reverse full reduction, where it's the alphabet backwards, but once you get to the number 9, it just repeats itself. So no double digits, right? 1 through 9, 1 through 9, 1 through 8. Using these 4 ciphers, there's a lot of stuff that you can kind of figure out, and you can see through all the bullshit that's going on out there in the world, and everything from politics to the stock market to sports, everything, news, all of it. It's all fake. It's all contrived, and I want to actually touch on the lyrics though to this song here. And I'm not going to play it again. And I don't even know if I'm going to get copyright striked or whatever for playing the song, but whatever, I don't care. Just kind of want to go into they always use movies and music and mass media to condition people. But this song is called "The Alchemist" by Bruce Dickinson, who many of you might know is the the lead singer for Iron Maiden. And he went and did solo stuff for a while in the early 90s, I think, and then went back with Iron Maiden. But his solo work is phenomenal, and this song has always kind of struck a chord with me, and we can kind of see here, the the significance of the entire song really is in the first couple lyrics, right? So talk about sulfurous and burning, spitting out the sun. Um, and then in Taurus, we begin it, and the latter has begun, right? So there's some stuff that goes into that for sure. Um, but another lyric too that is really kind of always struck me as interesting, and it has real basis in biblical connotation, is where he says, "Don't try and blame me for your sins, for the sun has burned me black." So I want to kind of go into that as well. Um, we can talk about some things here, but yeah. So let's hop right into what this could mean, right? So obviously, spitting out the sun. Speaking of the sun, sun worship. It's a huge thing. Uh, but in Taurus, we begin it, and the latter has begun. So what I take from this, and this is what my prediction is I believe that on May 7th of this year is when you're going to see some news about the Queen of England pop up, and it ain't gonna be great news, that's for sure. Now, here's here's the reason why, and again, using gematria, we can just figure this out, right? So if we look at some date spans here, okay, you can see that May 7th of 2022, it is the 127th day of the year. When it's not a leap year, it's the 127th day of the year. And if we go into our box here, and we can type out some words, and we'll get values in gematria for each word. And you can see here that Bavarian Illuminati has a gematria value of 127, just like how May 7th is the 127th day of the year. Also, Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, same thing, right? 127. And Vatican City, 127. And they all tie together because the Vatican is, you know how like Washington D.C. is technically in Maryland, but it's its own separate thing called Washington D.C. That's what Vatican City is in Italy. It's technically in Italy, right? But it's technically its own little secluded thing called the Holy See in Italy. And it's funny how Washington D.C. parallels that, and it parallels it in many different ways. But whatever. Then the other thing we can take from this is that if you type out the date, May 7th, if I could type, holy shit. There you go. You see how you get a gematria value of 32. Just like England has a gematria value of 132. And also, you can note that England has a gematria value of 57, and in the United States, the date May 7th would be written 5/7. So you've got that in there with England. And also, you've got Catholic Church equaling 132. Now, the rest of the world would write this date as 7/5, as in the 7th day of the 5th month. And you can see right off the bat here that Catholic Church also equals 75, like how you'd write 7/5. Just like if you were to type out the sun is 7/5. As well as New World Order. And you can kind of see here how Catholic Church equals 69, just like New World Order equals 69, but it also equals 75, just like how the date would be written. And this one cracks me up. Watch this. So order out of chaos equals 75. And again, if you guys go back and watch my most previous video about the 2022 riddle, you would see the significance of 222 from order out of chaos as well. Because order out of chaos is the English pronunciation of the Latin motto ordo ab chao, which is the motto of 33rd degree Freemasons, who are pretty high up in Freemasonry. I would assume they're Jesuits as well, but anyway, on top of that, royal bloodline equals 75, and again, it also equals 69, just like New World Order and like Catholic Church. And the royal bloodline is what's been in power in England in the monarchy for ever, pretty much, right? And then you've also got Roman Catholic, has a gematria value of 75. And it's also interesting because it has a gematria value of 132, just like Catholic Church has a gematria value of 132. And you've also got, let's see, oh, I probably spelled that wrong. There we go. Ignatius of Loyola has a gematria value of 75. Ignatius of Loyola was the founder of the Jesuit order, the people that are running all this stuff, and by which these codes for gematria, they run everything by these codes as well. Also, you can see here that May 7th is the day leaving 238 days left in the year. So if you take a look, Queen of England equals 238 in gematria. So does United Grand Lodge of England, which, oh boy, I didn't even know this existed, but this brought me down a rabbit hole for sure. So you can see here as a gematria value of 238. Now, what is United Grand Lodge of England, you ask? Oh, well, it's a giant Masonic temple out in England, and I genuinely didn't even know this place existed, and it's pretty freaky. As you can see here, it's, they've got all kinds of, like Old Testament and New Testament imagery all over the place. There was one thing though that I specifically wanted to show, and it's this right here. So apparently, I know it's like probably pretty small, but this is like a giant amphitheater, I guess, inside of this place, and it's got this compass and sextant, and it's got this giant lens like right in the middle of the stage, and there's pictures on here that I'll show right now when I find it. Look at this. They put a giant eyeball projecting from the middle of this thing, and I mean, if you guys haven't watched already, go back and watch my Travis Scott video that I made back when that whole concert tragedy happened. They did the exact same thing at the NRG Arena. They had a giant screen with an eyeball on it on the stage, and this place is crazy, man. I had no idea this place existed, the United Grand Lodge of England. But I specifically had this picture up because if you see here, this is in the United Grand Lodge of England, and it's got Solomon and Hiram on the other side, and it's got the Ark of the Covenant down below here with Jacob's ladder leading up, right? And again, the lyrics to this song say, "In Taurus we begin it, and the ladder has begun." Now, obviously, actually, it's interesting to me. I never really looked into it, but the Queen of England was actually born on April 21st, and Taurus starts on April 20th. So she was born one day into Taurus, but May 7th also is the date that is in Taurus as well. So it's kind of interesting to see how that kind of plays out. And of course, with this Grand Lodge of England, I'm sure all kinds of political moves and stuff like that comes out of there. So I wouldn't be surprised if they are going to have ties to what's about to happen. And another thing too that I want to touch on with that is there's a span of time between September 7th, 2021 and May 7th, 2022. And that happens to be 8 months, right? Now, the reason why I bring this up is because if you didn't see a stream that I did with Neo the Hacker and See Through the Script, I did a huge stream on why the date of September 7th was really, really important. It's because we entered in what's known as a Super Shemitah cycle, and it's a prophesized date given in the book of Daniel. And there's many key prophetic dates that have lined up from the lunar solar calendar to the Jewish calendar and then into the Gregorian calendar. Not very many dates do line up, but this date in particular does. And if you see here, there's a span of 8 months exactly into from when we began this Super Shemitah cycle and into this date. And the reason why that's important, it being 8, is because if you spell out the word 8 in Gematria, you see that you get a Gematric value of 86. You can see right here. And blood sacrifice as well has a Gematric value of 86. As does Solomon, has a Gematric value of 86. And Solomon actually plays into this, believe it or not, in one way or another, right? And he also has a Gematric value of 31, just like 8. And Jesuits as well has a Gematric value of 86. And 103, just like Solomon has 103 with it, 86. So you see, the more you kind of understand how the code works, you can see how a lot of things will start to play together, right? How they start to kind of coincide with one another. So, it's 8 months on the nose to the key prophetic date of the Super Shemitah cycle when it started up. And you can also see here that it also happens to be 242 days into the Super Shemitah cycle. And if you look right here, and I didn't have, again, this can't be coincidence, right? So Rosicrucian order has a Gematric value of 242. And the Rosicrucian order is pretty much where the ancient and accepted Scottish rite of Freemasonry stemmed from. And again, we have the connection right here to Scottish rite of Freemasonry. It's the same thing as the Rosicrucian order. It's just an offshoot of it, and it's people that believe in like crazy hermeticism. I mean, these are people that run the world, really, like truthfully. I don't know how else to put it to you guys, and it's a tough pill to swallow, but there's some crazy people, okay, that are running things. And Synagogue of Satan as well has a Gematric value of 242. And you can see here it also has 190, just like Rosicrucian order. And Synagogue of Satan ties into this all quite nicely as well, because that is what is described through the church of to the Church of Philadelphia in the book of Revelation, that they're faced with the Synagogue of Satan, and the Synagogue of Satan is the Jesuit order, plain and simple. The Bible predicted what was going to happen, and warned of who these people are and what they were going to do, and so. 242 days into the Super Shemitah cycle, and you might have some fingerprints all over what's about to happen. And then let's look at another span of days real quick. So you can see here that like I said, her birthday is on April 21st. And again, I'll bring that up just so you can see, right? The 21st of April is her birthday. It says it right here. Whoops. And the span of time between her date of birth is 17 days, right? And using gematria, you can see here that the word kill has a gematria value of 17. And also just so happens to have a gematria value of 64, just like Synagogue of Satan. And there's a few other things as well that have a gematria value of 64. And then also, Mason has a gematria value of 17. And they both have 28 as well. So they match up in two ciphers. So 17 days, after her birthday. And you got the kill for 17. And then there's also another span of time here that I want to look at real quick, which is, it just happened 3 days ago, actually, on February 6th. It was her Platinum Jubilee. And what it was is it denoted her 70 years of reign on the throne. And it's funny because really right now we're in what's called a Messiah's Jubilee with the Super Shemitah cycle. So it's funny that she's having her Platinum Jubilee in the time of us being in a Messiah's Jubilee. But so as you can see here, from when her Platinum Jubilee was to this date, May 7th, it's 91 days. That's if you. I'm sorry. I should say that's if you include the end date. So if you include the ending date, it is a span of 91 days. Just because that does kind of make a difference on things. And if you check this out, Platinum Jubilee just so happens to equal 91. And the Society of Jesus as well has a gematria value of 91. And it's got the 235, just like Platinum Jubilee. So again, a lot of these words are connecting together. You can see here, like, Platinum Jubilee has a gematria value of 62, just like Mason. So, the odds of like all of these numbers coinciding and working together is so incredibly low that if you were to think that it was all a coincidence, you're absolutely insane. I'm a really grounded in reality type person, and I'm like one of those people that's like, hey, I need proof over a lot of stuff. As far as when it comes to like making these kinds of accusations or guesses on things. And statistically, it's impossible that all of these words make actual words or actual phrases and have values that add up to one another consistently, right? Now, I also want to let it be known too that on the day of her Platinum Jubilee, which was on the 6th of February, everyone knows that the tower, Big Ben, right? Well, it's actually they renamed the tower, since it had like Big Ben's the clock, but the actual tower that the clock sits in was renamed. And it was actually renamed to Elizabeth Tower. And this was 20 years ago for her Diamond Jubilee. but it's funny because it Elizabeth Tower has a gematria value of 70, and it's her 70th year on the throne, which is what makes it the Platinum Jubilee. And they actually rang the tower, or the clock, 70 times to commemorate her 70 years of reign. And if with the rules of numerology, people believe that you can like drop zero when it comes to uh, either values or numbers themselves, because zero has no value in numerology. And if you drop the zero, it's the seventh day, right, that we're looking at for May 7th. But if you write out 7, it as well has a gematria value of 70. Also, you can see here, and this is where it starts to get really good. So there's a phrase, right, known as "Long live the Queen" or "Long live the King." But when you type out "Long live the Queen" and "the Queen is dead," okay, they both have gematria values of 70 as well. Just like how 7, which is it's the 7th day of that month, equals 70. Elizabeth Tower equals 70, and it's her 70th year reigning as queen. And the actual phrase is, the queen is dead, long live the queen. That's like what the whole phrase is. But it can be broken up into just either the queen is dead or as long live the queen. So there's 3 different ways that it can be said or exclaimed, I guess you could say. And if you see here too, the queen is dead has a gematria value of 65. Just like Elizabeth II has a gematria value of 65. And that's actually what she's known as. I mean, you can see here on her Wikipedia page, she's called Elizabeth II. At least for now. Who knows if they go in and start changing things on Wikipedia or Google, or how that goes. But then I wanna kind of start touching on the things that are spoken about in this song here, The Alchemist. And again, so it's talking about sun worship. It's referencing Taurus, right, being in the time of Taurus. And as it says, the ladder has begun. And I believe that the ladder is in reference to Jacob's ladder. And the reason why I say that is because I want to just kind of talk about some things real quick with Jacob's ladder. So in Genesis 28:12, it says, "He had a dream, and behold, a ladder was set on the earth with its top reaching to heaven. And behold, the angels of God were ascending and descending on it. And behold, the Lord stood above it and said, I am the Lord, the God of your father Abraham, and the God of Isaac. The land on which you lie, I will give it to you and your descendants. Your descendants will also be like the dust of the earth, and you will spread out to the west, and to the east, and to the north, and to the south. And in you and your descendants shall all the families of the earth be blessed. Behold, I am with you, and will keep you wherever you go, and will bring you back to this land. For I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you." Then Jacob awoke from his from his sleep, and said, "Surely the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it." He was afraid, and he said, "How awesome is this place?" As in, like, how fearful, like how full of awe is this place? This is none other than the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven. So Jacob rose early in the morning and took the stone that he had put under his head and set it up as a pillar and poured oil on its top. He called the name of that place Bethel. However, previously the name of the city had been Luz. Okay, so this is like the origin of Jacob's ladder, right? It's like Jacob leaving his brother falling asleep and having this prophetic vision, this prophetic dream, and claiming that this place that he fell asleep truly was a gate of heaven, right? And so that's where Jacob's ladder comes from. And there's many interpretations for that of what it could mean. But I think the significance is pretty much stating that this event that will be happening sometime this year is going to be the cataclysm that will kick off a series of events that is unstoppable, that is going to really, I guess, be the proof in the pudding of people have been debating for ages, is religion real? Is God real? Personally, I'm a believer, and I think that this is going to start the kickoff of what we're going to see, and that's why these lyrics are stating, in Taurus we begin it, and the ladder has begun. So there's steps and there's processes and there's different prophecies that have to continue being fulfilled, but I think that this is going to be the cataclysmic event that's going to kick it off. I also wanted to note real quick too. I don't know if you guys ever noticed, but the Queen of England was born on the 111th day of the year as well, which I thought was kind of interesting. But yeah, so I also want to touch in on some other lyrics here. As I said, how it's kind of crazy how it says. Where is it here? Yeah, don't try and blame me for your sins, for the sun has burned me black. Okay. So this goes to the Song of Solomon. And in Song of Solomon, which was written by Solomon, but through divine divination of God, it says, "Do not stare at me because I am swarthy," this is a word in Hebrew that means blackish, like blackened. "For the sun has burned me. My mother's sons were angry with me. They made me caretaker of the vineyards, but I'm not taking care of my own vineyard." Now, there's a lot of controversy around what this means and what he means by like when he says this, that the sun has burned me and I'm blackish. So if we look at Job, well, okay, actually let's look at what the word originates from. So Shechar Shorit, right? Shechar Shorit, meaning blackish, coming from the word Shechar. If we look at Job 30:30, Shechar is used here in the meaning, my skin turns black on me and my bones burn with fever, right? This is a spiritual sickness that they're speaking of. In the Talmud, it speaks of, a lot of different types of contamination and plague, but not in the way that we think of it. It actually has to do with like spiritual contamination, like being around dead bodies and things like that. You're supposed to ritualistically purify yourself because it's like bad energy from dead bodies and things like that, and things like not exactly leprosy, but things can start to take physical manifestation on you, and you're supposed to be, like blessed by a priest, and then you'd have to live outside the city walls and wrap yourself up to keep yourself from contaminating other people until you were healed. And I believe that this is what they're speaking of when he says that the sun has burned me. Again, the sun, right? The sun worship. This is all been going on for eons and eons. Just as they knew that Yeshua would be the Meshua, the Son of God, right? And Solomon actually was the one that wrote Ecclesiastes as well. And if you ever read Ecclesiastes, it's very somber. There's a lot of really good like knowledge held within Ecclesiastes, but the overall tone of it is very like somber, and it's because of the fact that the spiritual blackness that had really cursed Solomon and David as well, his father. Um, you know, it was a generational thing, and I think that's why he's trying to describe that the sun is burned in black. But as far as like in reference to that ladder, and again, this United Grand Lodge of England, okay? So you can see here, it's got Solomon right here, and it's got Hiram, and it's got the menorahs, and the ladder of Jacob leading up into heaven. And again, here is the Ark of the Covenant at the base of it. And we know this is the Ark of the Covenant because the Ark of the Covenant is described in multiple books throughout the Bible. But it was rested in Solomon's temple, and it was brought under. Well, they were called. It was called a Sukkot, but what it really was it was a way for them to kind of like describe how a palm leaf. If you've ever seen a palm tree, the leaves on palm trees kind of look like angel wings. So there's a whole thing that goes into that. But yeah, so Ark of the Covenant, right? And then Jacob's ladder. I mean, was the Temple of Solomon built on top of, where Jacob had this dream in Bethel, and maybe history just isn't given to us the right way, and we don't really know, you know what I mean? Because it does say that if you read on further in Genesis, when they're talking about going back, it is right here. So when Jacob comes back to Bethel, and God comes back to him, he says, "Your name is Jacob, but you shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel shall be your name." Thus he called him Israel. You see, these are very, very important and prophetic things that are being described in the book of Genesis in relation to Jacob's ladder, because Jacob goes back to where he had that dream, and this is where God renames him as Israel, and there's the induction of the Abrahamic religions to him at this point. And God also said to him, "I am God Almighty, be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall come from you, and kings shall come forth from you. The land which I gave to Abraham and Isaac, I will give it to you, and I will give the land to your descendants after you." Then God went up from him in the place where he had spoken with him. Jacob set up a pillar in the place where he had spoken with him, a pillar of stone, and he poured out a drink offering on it. He also poured oil on it. So Jacob named the place where God had spoken to him Bethel again. And then so they journeyed from Bethel, and there was still some distance to go to Ephrath, and Rachel, who was Jacob's wife, began to give birth, and it was severe labor. When she was in the severe labor, the midwife said to her, "Do not fear, for now you have another son." And it came about as her soul was departing, for she had died giving birth, that she named him Ben-Oni, but his father called him Benjamin. So Rachel died and was buried on the way to Ephrath, that is Bethlehem, right? So she was buried on their way when they're headed to Bethlehem, and Jacob set up a pillar over her grave, and that is the pillar of Rachel's grave to this day. Then Israel journeyed on. Now, see, here's what's interesting about this. God said, "Your name is now Israel," right? But he was still being referred to as Jacob up until this point where he set the pillar up for where his wife's grave was. And from here on, he's known as Israel. So Israel journeyed on and pitched his tent beyond the Tower of Eder. It came about while Israel was dwelling in that land that Reuben went and lay with Bilhah, his father's concubine. And Israel heard of it, now that there are 12 sons of Jacob. The sons of Leah, Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, then Simeon and Levi and Judah and Issachar and Zebulun. The sons of Rachel, Joseph and Benjamin. And the sons of Bilhah, Rachel's maid, Dan and Naphtali. And the sons of Zelaph, Leah's maid, Gad and Asher. These are the sons of Jacob who were born to him in Paddan Aram. Jacob came to his father Isaac at Mamre, which is in Hebron, where Abraham and Isaac had sojourned. I mean, it's just, this is all like crazy biblical stuff. But anyway, so going back to it, this song is kind of, I think the song is predicting like what's going to happen, and it's also says right here that there's a four-headed dragon for the 4 degrees of fire. I don't know what the four-headed dragon is. I've tried to figure it out. My best inference of it is that it's the 4 major churches that you have in modern day age, which is the Christianity, the sect of Christianity, the sect of Catholicism, the sect of Judaism, and the sect of Islam. I think that might be the four-headed dragon. And as far as for 4 degrees of fire, I want to bring something up real quick that I found. And this says that this is the secret fire of the alchemist, the power to transform reality, right? There's 4 grades of fire, the 4 degrees of fire that alchemists use. So it says the alchemists recognize 4 grades of fire with which they could work. Generally, these were classified from the grossest, or most material, to the subtlest, or most spiritual. The grades were called elementary fire, secret fire, central fire, and celestial fire. So, I mean, this is real life stuff that alchemists believed that they could transmute things and, change the material and metaphysical world. And I think that this falls a lot into Kabbalism and into like mysticism, which is a lot of what these people believe in that rule the world. The Jesuit order, Illuminati, Freemasonry, Rosicrucian order, all of it. It all ties together. They all believe in the same crazy stuff, right? Now I also wanted to touch real quick on the ladder of Jacob. Because if you see here, it has a gematria value of 66. Just like Queen Elizabeth has a gematria value of 66. And again, the gematria value of 69. Just like royal bloodline, just like Catholic Church, just like New World Order. All these things kind of go together. But the ladder of Jacob and Queen Elizabeth have a gematria value of 66. Just like Saturn worship equals 66, and 201, which is a giant Jesuit number. Again, Ignatius of Loyola, who was the founder of the Jesuit order, equals 201, and everything from there stems out into a 201 from him. And then also, God Save the Queen, which is like a old kind of, hymn, I guess, that they would sing in regards to making sure that everything went okay with the Queen, right? Equals 66 and 69 as well. So, those all kind of play together. And I could imagine if this news does break of her passing, they're going to say, the Queen is dead, long live the Queen, God save the Queen. These are all going to be things that you're going to see in the headlines and being repeated by people. And it's not going to be very surprising when it goes down like that. All right, and then we've also got. Oh yeah, so check this out. So we know that the Pope just had his birthday on December 17th, Saturnalia, and if you look here, if we were to look at like his upcoming birthday in 2022. This date, May 7th, is 224 days from his upcoming birthday. And the Society of Jesus, which is like the formal name for the Jesuit order, has a gematria value of 224. Now, if you also look at it, you could say this date is actually 20 weeks and 1 day from his birthday he just had, like 201. And again, 201 is a huge number for the Jesuit order. The Jesuit order equals 201. Ignatius of Loyola equals 201. And the name of the Pope, Pope Francis, right? And you can see here, this is his date of birth. He was born December 17th. Okay, so I'm not just making that up. He's actually the first openly Jesuit Pope. I don't know if he's the first Jesuit one ever. I'm sure they've all kind of been Jesuits, but he's open about it. He's like, yep, I'm part of the Society of Jesus. Jesus Hominum Salvatore, their whole thing. And I, if you take his actual name, which is Jorge Mario Bergoglio, it equals 201 as well, and into 111 in full reduction. I mean, it's like kind of, and this all goes back to Ignatius of Loyola, again, who we already talked about with that. Their motto is Jesus Hominum Salvatore. Look, there's even a list of Jesuit educational institutions. Yeah, go look at that list and go start Googling people, and you'll be like, what the hell? It's pretty funny. But yeah, so I'm not going to go into all this about them, but it's a real thing. It's the thing that runs the world, and we're just playing along with them. What does it say here? No resolution. Okay, then you've also got, so it's 2 weeks and 1 day from his birthday. I mean, you can't make that up. That's just, like, it's right there. That's the date on it. So 201 is on that. And also, from her Platinum Jubilee that she had, if we go back to when she had it, it's 13 weeks on the nose, if you include the end date again. And in numerology, 13 can be written as like 3 plus 1, or 1 plus 3, which equals 4. And that might go back again to the 4-headed dragon and the 4 degrees of fire. And also, there's originally 13 stars, 13 stripes on the flag for 13 original colonies when the Jesuits came to conquer America from England. So that the 13 is probably a big number as well that plays into their stuff. And if you look at the date numerology on May 7th, you also have the date numerology of 280. And Scottish Rite Freemasons has a gematria value of 280. And Saturn the Timekeeper as well has a gematria value of 280. And a lot of this is Saturn worship. Why? Well, because in Roman mythology, Saturn was not only the timekeeper, but also he's a direct male counterpart to Virgo the Virgin, where he's the god of harvesting and cleansing and all kinds of crazy stuff. So that's why these people they worship Kronos or Saturn, as he's renamed too, but he's actually in Greek it's Kronos, and you can actually see right here as well. He's a patron of the harvest, and he's seen with a sickle, and so they and his abode is Tartarus, right, which is very similar to Taurus in Greek. It's the deep abyss that's used as a dungeon to torment people. and it's a prison for the Titans. But okay, we'll pretend like it's not a coincidence that this is all going down in the time of Taurus, right, during the astrological uh, zodiac signs of Taurus. But then also you can see here that there's a 140 date numerology, because you can write it as 57222 for 2022, or just 22 as 22. And the 140 numerology Queen of England equals 140. Whoops, I actually spelled that wrong. Huh. Oh gosh. But it still comes out to the same, because it's the same words, or same letters, you know. But yeah, so Queen of England equals 140 in Gematria. Satanic Sacrifice equals 140 in Gematria. And it also equals 68, just like Queen of England as well. So, and remember, we also touched on the 238 for the United Grand Lodge of England, and how it's the 200. It leaves 238 days left in the year. So I mean, it all plays together. Like, there's no way this could just be made up or coincidence, you know. And then actually, if you type out the entire phrase, "The Queen is dead, long live the Queen," you can see here, same thing, you get a gematria value of 140. Okay, so if you check and see this date, May 7th, it's on a Saturday. It's the first Saturday of May. And Saturday is named after Saturn, which is why this even more plays into it with Saturn worship and everything like that. So Saturn has a gematria value of 69. And again, we've touched on, you know, how many different 69s are there right now. Saturn, which is what Saturday is named after. The Jesuit Order equals 69. God Save the Queen is 69. Queen Elizabeth is 69. Royal Bloodline is 69. New World Order is 69. Catholic Church is 69. So you know what I'm saying? The fact that this happens on a Saturday is almost like a perfect coincidence, right? And I don't know if there's anything with actual the name the name for Saturday. I mean, there is Saturn the Timekeeper that it plays in with the 109 gematria value. But and Rosicrucian Order. So it's 107, just like Rosicrucian Order. And so I think that might be it. But I mean, you know, again, the fact that all these are, yeah, and Saturday equals 28, right? Just like Kill and Mason. 17 days after her birthday, or on her 17th day of age, I should say. Where Kill and Mason is 17. You also got the 28 for Saturday. So, you know. Let's see. Oh yeah, and then also, so she's gonna be turning 96 years old. And again, 7th, like it's the 7th day of May, has a gematria value of 96. As does Secret Societies, equals 96. Didn't spell that right. I missed an E. There you go. Church of Philadelphia equals 96, and it also has the 111 in full reduction, just like Jorge Mario Bergoglio. But so Church of Philadelphia equals 96, and that does actually play into this because, again, the Synagogue of Satan is warned of to the Church of Philadelphia in the Book of Revelation. And the Synagogue of Satan is what the Jesuit Order is. They've got their foundings in modern day Turkey, and it's just they've gone wild from there. And then also, this is a funny one. Conspiracy theories as well equals 96, and it equals 222. Again, just like order out of chaos equals 222. We're in the year 2022, where you could drop the 0 with the rules of numerology. You get 222. But it does also have the 96. Like, she's going to be 96 years old coming soon. And then now I just want to get into some pretty fascinating stuff with you guys about Taurus in general. So again, Taurus is pretty important. And I also want to notate to you guys too that if you go back and listen to this song, it says right here in the lyrics towards the end, and so we lay in the same grave, our chemical wedding day. Okay, I think that this song is that this is what's happening. This is what happens at the end of Jacob's ladder, right? The ladder begins with this date, possibly of May 7th. But what happens at the end of the ladder is it's the end of all things. And a chemical wedding, it's the album's called The Chemical Wedding, and my inference of it is it's talking about nuclear hellfire, pretty much, right? I mean, it's chemical reactions that have allowed people to develop these crazy weapons that they use for whatever purposes they need. And as it says, we lay in the same grave. It means like the whole earth is going to be the grave, because we all go on the chemical wedding day, because it's talking about like a wedding, a marriage of chemicals, and when the chemicals intermingle and get wedded together the right way, much like in the Song of Solomon, right? It speaks of the bridegroom and the wedding of the church and yourself. So there's a lot of allegories there, but I just want to talk real quick about with regards to Taurus. I'll just open up a new thing here. So the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet, right, is Aleph. And look, they even will give you a little gematria breakdown on it, right? Because Aleph is 1, because it's the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet, right? But as you can see here, this is what Aleph looks like, and in its actual writing, these two sides right here represent the horns of a bull. And so it'll actually, I'm sure that this design will go over it for you. It says here, what is an Aleph? If it were only a random arrangement of pen strokes designed to prompt the reader to say the sound ah, this question would be irrelevant. Every aspect of the Aleph's construction has been divinely designed to teach us something. Contrast this with a child learning to read English for the first time. He is never taught why a capital A looks like a teepee and a small a looks like a soap bubble stuck to a wall. I guess that's one way to put it, right? But Hebrew is different. The design of an Aleph is actually made up of 3 different letters. The letter Yud, or dot above, a Yud or dot below, and a diagonal Vav, or line suspended in between. The Yud above represents God, who is above or beyond our comprehension. In comparison to his true essence, our understanding is a mere dot. The Yud below represents a Yid, or Yudim, Jewish people who dwell here on earth. The only way we can grasp God's wisdom to the extent that a person is capable is by being humble. When we realize that we are but a dot or a speck compared to the almighty and all-powerful God, we become a vessel to receive his divine wisdom. So it's very, very interesting, but it also means, it's also modeled after, like I said, a bull. And again, Taurus is a bull. And the reason why is because it's the first letter of the alphabet, and it represents like strength. It represents leading, and that's what a bull is. It represents like the ultimate strength and the leading of the animal kingdom. So it's pretty interesting that Aleph, being the first letter, and it in a way it represents Taurus. And again, like the lyrics say, in Taurus we begin it, in the beginning of the Hebrew alphabet. So there's some comparisons there. And I'm gonna break down something for you guys, because this is just straight knowledge right here. I mean, this is like undeniable almost. So I want to show you guys the first word of the Bible, right? I mean, the actual first word in the entire Bible. It's not in the beginning. That's just the English translation of it. But if you look here in Hebrew, the word is Bereshit, and Bereshit is what translates to in the beginning. But if you look here, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 letters long. And you've got 2 letters in the middle. And, you actually read, as you read Hebrew from left to right, you can see here the first letter is Aleph, right? The A that we talked about. And the second letter is Shin, which when you add them together, Aleph Shin, it spells Esh. And Esh means fire in Hebrew. And the other 2 letters to either side, so right here and right here, this first letter here is Bet, which is the second letter of the alphabet. And it's actually kind of interesting that the first word of, like, the first letter of the Bible isn't actually Aleph, because if you see here the way that you would pronounce Elohim or Adonai, it starts with an A. It starts with Aleph. So you would think that why wouldn't they want God to be the first thing in the Bible, right? But it's actually the second letter, Bereshit, or I'm sorry, Bet. And then you've got the second one right here, which is Resh. And then the third one here, which is Yod. And the last one, which is Tav. Now, if you were to take these 4 letters, just taking out the middle, Aleph and Shin, it spells the word Brit, which means covenant in Hebrew. So if you look at this, there is fire inside of the covenant. So the first word of the Bible, which is in the beginning, right, Bereshit, is actually prophesizing the end of all things, because God promises a covenant of fire to end all things for the second and final time. Because there's already the first time, which was the flood in Genesis 6:6, where God regrets creating humanity. But then the final time is promised to us right here. There's the covenant, right? And inside the covenant, right in between, smack dab, is fire. A chemical wedding, which is, again, alludes directly to the fact that there's 4 degrees of fire, and, the sun has burned him black with spiritual sickness, and, so, that's all I got for this one, guys, but, it was kind of a long one, I guess, but a lot of stuff to go over, and, I guess we just got to keep an eye out and see, maybe when that day does pop up, if it does happen on May 7th, I guess that'd be pretty phenomenal, right? But maybe we'll see there might be some other clues given that will, again, lead into all these numbers that we've gone over today. and be more stuff that they can go over there. So, other than that, I'll catch you all in the next one.